Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your generous introduction. And I'm afraid that I will disappoint you a little bit as long there are not secret recipes. As any human being, we have achievements and mistakes as well. But I think that if we are able to share our own experience and trying to learn in somebody else's problems and mistakes as well, maybe we can grow and advance together. So Egypt and Mexico are countries in a lot of things quite similar, very young populations, developing countries, with incredible cultural roots coming from 1,000 years ago. But at the same time, we are living quite different realities and problems. It is clear for me that one size doesn't fit to all. So anyone has his own reality, but let me share with you what we did, that we tried to do in Mexico, and maybe that could be the start of quite good conversation with all of you. Second, I want to express my gratitude to the American Chamber of Egypt, and in particular to the chairman, our good friend Anis, and all of you to stay here. What I am learning in this, my first trip to Egypt, is this is not only a beautiful country, but also it has an incredible leadership in civil society. So let's go with this. Probably for all of you, or at least for a lot of people involved in public affairs, we always have this question. What exactly does explain the development? What is the, as Anis said, the secret recipe for prosperity? And you can get a lot of explanations everywhere. For instance, some people say it's a question of geography. If you are allocated in a place you are plenty of natural resources, you will be rich and prosperous. Yes and no. I know a lot of countries with plenty of natural resources. Our dear country, Venezuela, for instance, and it's in the middle of a mess. Or countries without any single natural resource, even without water, like Singapore, and it's one of the most prosperous nations in Earth. So what is the explanation? It's about the culture. It's about having deep roots like Mexico and Egypt have. Or it's a question about the values we have. Is that true that there are some peoples and countries condemned to be corrupt all the time? Or others that could be prosperous, whatever they think or do? It's a question of ignorance about public policy. It's a question of how smart are people in government or not. Because we know all countries with normal people to say in government and others with quite smart people. You have quite smart people in government, by the way. But even though it doesn't explain very well what is happening. And there are others that say, well, it's natural resources. No. No one of those explanations fit what we are observing. What I am assuming is an explanation coming from Acemoglu and Robinson in this very famous book they published recently, 3 or 4 years ago, named Why Nations Fail. And what I said is, everything is about institutions. And what are institutions? I'm not talking about the buildings, about this or that agency in the government. Institutions for them is the practices we have in the society, either formal or informal, written or unwritten practices. What do we do in order to address a problem? What do we do to live on a daily basis? What are the practices around us, between the families and between citizens? And they say that there are two kinds. Let me try to move here. I wonder if you can hear me here or not? Or much better than this, no? Well, yeah, okay. They say there are two kinds of institutions. One of them is the inclusive institutions. And these institutions are more related to expand equal opportunities for all,